talk true sense. Rather hear the words that glorify nonsense. Yes, and I got my brains, and I'm pretty like my mama. I don't wanna pick your brains, I just want the microphone. Take the mask off your face and look at me face to face. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I wanna share my love, but it's gotta be with someone who's precious. You're never gonna get my love, accepting that you're real precious. You're never gonna cramp my style, baby, cause I get a lot of pleasure. And if you wanna test my style, you better have a whole lot of measure. Cause I'm a rock back chick, never tag along the never look back chick. Trendy, a little crazy, intelligently singing rock back chick. Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Good morning and welcome. Good morning and welcome to Youth Wednesdays on the Tobago Updates Morning Show, the one and only morning show. We are here live in Portmore in Scarborough, and I am your favorite youth host, Dwayne Nurse. I know you guys miss me. Let's have to put that in.
And I am Aliyah the Holder. A hearty good morning to you and welcome, and thank you so much for joining us. We are coming to you live from M&E TV, YouTube, Facebook, Smash Radio 91.9, and all our other platforms. It's a wonderful rainy morning to be here with you guys this morning. Dwayne, how are you?
I am here, but I can't agree with your statement that it's a wonderful rainy morning and it's good to be here. I prefer to be on my bed in such conditions, just to be very honest with you. But guys, I miss you very much. I really miss all you. I know you miss me, but me ain't get no calls. Probably how my phone always ringing down the place. But for those who would have missed me, I had to take a little hiatus, just to make sure that I have some good mental health, so I could come here and try to look nice and try to represent Tobago and all the youths in this space, and to put up with Aliyah.
Wow, what a nice way to end. Welcome back.
Thank you, darling. You look nice, and I like how we complimenting each other this morning, as usual.
I'm finding that looking in my closet too much, but that's okay.
That's what thing, that's what the work is about, hey.
We go over to Candice Jackson with news in 90 seconds.
Thank you, Dwayne and Aliyah. Here is your news in 90 seconds for Wednesday, 3rd August 2022. A family is upset that their 3-month-old baby's body has not yet undergone an autopsy. According to a Newsday report, the family complained about poor communication from the Scarborough General Hospital and the mortuary regarding the autopsy. Meanwhile, the police are conducting investigations into the death of the baby. Reports said on July 26, the mother dropped the baby off at a daycare in Canby, but she was contacted several hours later and told they took the baby to the hospital. When the mother arrived at the hospital, doctors informed her that the baby was dead. Circumstances surrounding the baby's death remain unclear at this time. On to some other news. The first of 15 yacht moorings were installed in Charlottesville by the Environmental Research Institute of Charlottesville, ERIC. The installation of yacht moorings is part of an ecotourism drive to ensure yachties can dock safely in the bay without damaging the reef. Shell Trinidad and Tobago is funding the project in collaboration with the Charlottesville Police Youth Club. The installation of the moors is expected to be finished by the end of August. When completed, yachties will pay for their use, with 30% of proceeds benefiting the Charlottesville Police Youth Club. And now for some national news. The government does not want to give police officers more than a 4% salary raise. The Trinidad and Tobago Police Social and Welfare Association held their final round of negotiations with the Chief Personnel Officer on Sunday. They proposed a 15% increase for 2014 to 2016 and a 12% increase for 2017 to 2019. However, the CPO informed them that the government was not prepared to go higher than 4% from 2014 to 2019, and that was their final offer. The association is expected to meet with its membership soon to discuss the way forward. And that was your news in 90 seconds. It is back to you, Dwayne and Aaliyah.
Thank you very much, Candice. And guys, we are in the best month of the year. best month of the year, which is August. And on that note, we are going to go to birthdays. Dwayne is a little flustered because he don't know how to behave himself when he sits next to greatness. People that are born in August, you know what I mean? But that's fine. So, first up for birthdays, we have Mr. Timon Gray. Happy birthday to you. Wishing you all the best day.
Right, and we have Giselle Alain. Happy birthday to you, looking all gorgeous and so on.
Then we have Miss Aloma Spencer Johnson. Happy birthday to you.
Alright, and next we have Jody Demas Williams. Good morning and happy birthday to you. And we have the mighty Tatos man. And you know this man?
Yes, I know this man.
I know this man. He's a great man. I could give him that. You know, I think he made the man great. By token of what he does. But a happy birthday to you, mighty Tatos, Mr. Nigel Tate, Assemblyman and Assistant Secretary.
Happy birthday to my beautiful twin cousins, Sonia and Sophia. Wishing you guys all the best. As soon as August starts, let's just give it yourself. But happy birthday to you guys.
Right, and then we have Miss Charlene Turner. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to Miss Ishe Douglas Winchester. Wishing you all the best today.
Alright, so that is it for birthdays, guys. We go right into the rundown. And for the rundown this morning, we have a very packed we have a very packed rundown for you this morning. First, we have the interview with Mr. Leroy Baptiste, President of the Public Service Association, discussing in light of what happened at WASA. What do we have next?
Then we have Mr. Johanan Cornwall speaking to us about Begu Juve Enter the Wild. And finally, we have a youth in the mix.
Right, we're not going to say who it is. It's going to be a surprise, but just know that this youth is a budding and promising youth. Is somebody I really admire as a young person in this space. But just stay tuned and give us the support. Continue viewing us, and just remember,
share the life, share the life, share the life,
and share the life.
Baby, cause I get a lot of pleasure. And if you wanna test my style, you better have a whole lot of measure. Cause I'm a rock back chick, never tag along and never look back chick.
Everybody only worrying. Never ever worry, don't mind how things looking hard. I tell them never ever worry, if your nice can't get damaged bad. I tell them never ever worry, what I'm saying is true. So just consider, Tatil is always right here for you. I tell them never ever worry, don't mind if life make you sad. I tell them never ever worry, if your house get flooded out real bad. I tell them never ever worry, what I'm saying is true. So just consider, Tatil is always right here for you. I tell them never ever worry, if sickness catch you off guard. I tell them never ever worry, if times fall on you real hard. I tell them never ever worry, what I'm saying is true. So just consider, Tatil will always be here for you. Never worry about a thing. Tatil, where people are people. You know what I mean.
Excel Spa by Haley, where our highly trained staff are ready to deliver the top-class services in facial massages, waxing, nail enhancement and body treatment. We are ideally located at Coco Avenue, Switzerland, Tobago. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, TripAdvisor, or you can call us on 730-0149. Excel Spa by Haley. Relax, renew, and rejuvenate.
MI4 Security Services Company is the most advanced security service in Tobago. Ask about our cash in transit service. It's safe, risk-free, reliable, and timely. We provide safe banking delivery for all business types and sizes with highly trained staff, 24/7 monitoring, coordinated emergency response, and a well-maintained fleet of armored vehicles. Contact us at 660-7723 or visit our website at www.mi4securitytt.com to sign up today.
The best place to stay in Tobago is at Thorn's Place with rates starting as low as 200 TT. Call or WhatsApp 745-7306 or 682-8676. We are located uptown Scarborough, 5 minutes away from the port. Remember, at Thorn's Place, our aim is to make your stay safe and affordable.
Tobago Glass Supplies has been a leading name for over 37 years in the glass and aluminum market in Tobago. We provide an extensive range of high-quality, innovative aluminum and glass products for commercial and residential use. Competitive prices with superior and professional services by committed employees who are guided by rigid quality standards. Tobago Glass Supplies specializes in the manufacture and installation of glass and aluminum products that are essential to today's homeowners and the business environment. We are engaged in marketing, sales, and installation of a variety of products. These ranges from windows and doors to necessities such as mirrors for homes and vehicles, designed and manufactured in-house or imported.
We party till we drop down there with a lot of pretty girls down there, down in Tobago.
Our national borders, our first step to security, but a possible access point for guns, drugs, crime. If it does not look right, do the right thing. Call Crime Stoppers anonymously. 800-8477. Report possible border crime.
The Street 919 FM and the Tobago Updates presents the Tobago Updates Morning Show live simulcast on the Street 919 FM. Start your day with all the information you want and need with the simulcast of the Tobago Updates Morning Show live Mondays to Fridays from 7 a.m. on the Street 919 FM, the official station that defends the nation.
Advertise with Tobago Updates. Call 284-6597. If you have a small or large business, we can get your information in front of the masses. Reach our rapidly growing viewership on Facebook and YouTube. Promote your brand in Trinidad and the Caribbean through M&E TV Now and Gayel. Yes, we can build unique ads for your business. Call now 284-6597 and advertise with us.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning and welcome back to Youth Wednesdays on the Tobago Updates Morning Show. I am Aliyah Hola, and in this segment we are talking all about October Carnival, the Juve segment with Tobago Juve, and we are going to be speaking with Mr. Johanan Cornwall, who is everything Bago, everything Juve, everything Color Hall Juve. You will hear about the biggest band, Bago Juve. Good morning to you.
Good morning to you and our viewers today. Thanks for having me on.
How are you this morning?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you going?
I'm fine as well. So tell us, as we get straight into things, who or what is Bago Juve? For the persons that have never played with Bago, who or what is Bago Juve?
So I would say that Bago Juve is for anybody who really wants to find their party passion from Tobago. because the reason hence the name Bago Juve, Baego, but it's pronounced Bago obviously. So it's kind of a play on Tobagonians. We actually call our band members Bagonians. So it's really just to kind of foster a particular type of carnival spirit and Juve energy throughout.
Yeah. All right. And we know that this year, as your flyer says, you all are going to be teaming up with Dirty Medics for this Juve band launch. Tell us, how has that collaboration been for you guys?
It's actually been pretty amazing, to be honest. Having Dirty Medics on board really brought a lot to the table because they have a lot more experience than we do and they deal with a lot bigger events. So in terms of dealing with sponsors, in terms of event logistics and that kind of stuff, they do a really good job on that. And then they also bring that Trinidad crowd and following that I think is really necessary for Tobago Carnival to thrive because we need regional and local tourism to be here.
So, what's the theme this year for your launch?
Theme this year is Enter the Wild.
What's that all about?
Well, so
Into the forest, something.
Yeah, I feel like we wanted to do something that was kind of creative, one obviously, and also something that would make people have fun. So Enter the Wild is kind of a play on, we're gonna carry on wild and crazy, and also on the type of outfits that we're gonna have. I don't want to give away too much, but Dirty Medics coming with a particular type of print. Like each one of us have like a character in terms of an animal, So it will be a really good vibes to see. For sure.
And when does the launch take place? Where is the launch going to take place?
Okay, so the launch is on the 13th of this month, August, and it's at Johnny Q Pub House by Lowlands. And it's going to be, starts at 11. We have display here PM, and we have the display from 12 midnight. So you'll have an hour to get here. I know Tobagonians is move late.
We're going to be on time because we know that all other band launches were not on time. So are we going to be on time?
I am. You see how Willie I was here today?
Wow. Alright. So we're on time.
For sure.
11 o'clock, 12 o'clock sharp. Everything set.
For sure. Everything would be as it should,
In terms of us still at the All Flyer, I have special surprises. What are some of these special surprises?
Okay, so well, as you all know, Nyla Blackmon is a part of the band. That's all. For now,
that's very well.
We should definitely have some giveaways and that kind of thing happening. Some more giveaways, as well as I'm trying to do something really special on the road that I don't want to reveal just yet, but I think it's something that it is an element that has never been brought to Tobago. And so us being the first to work on bringing that would really be amazing. So
yeah. I just had a moment there, viewers, because like some thunder that is not nice. This is why doing so that we need to be in our bed, but we're doing interviews, that's how the work goes.
Yes. The thunder just really roll because it's good vibes, that kind of way. As I was talking about,
good vibes, good energy.
And oh God, the gods agree. It's a good chat.
So we know that it's Bago Juve times Dirty Medics. They had a big appearance at Paint this summer, and for sure, guys, you all saw the girls. They were amazing. So, are we having a special lineup of girls from Trinidad and Tobago, which is a mixture in this launch?
For sure. Something that I actually pride myself on is trying to link up Trinidad influencers with up-and-coming Tobago models, because I think it will really work out well for them in the long run. So what we would have for this band launch, it would be the same thing, a mixture. Even for the photo shoot was a nice mixture of Tobago girls with some Trinidad influencers, so that way we could start building that influential type market in Tobago, which I think is really important as a tourist country.
Well, I was not going to ask the difference. Well, you differentiated them by models and influencers.
Right, so because there really is a difference. There are people who literally practice modeling and train to be models and have a full list that they eat, how they exercise and everything like that. Being a model takes a lot, and an Instagram influencer also takes a lot, but it's a different type, because you don't have to be an influencer to be a model. You just have to know how to pose and work our outfit great and look good in it. You know, for influencer, you literally have to have people wanting to do what you say we're doing or say what we're going.
All right. And I know that in the past, if I'm correct, that mud would have been a big part of Tobago Juve, right?
For sure.
Mud and mud would have been a big part of it. Are they going to be part of it this year?
For sure. I don't see Tobago Carnival without mud. You know, that kind of like that's impossible. So anything Juve in Tobago should have mud in it, and that's why mud always a part of Tobago Juve. You know, because that's our thing, and mud is the best mud it have. It's colored mud. Like, come on, guys.
Big up, Selassie. But
yeah.
There's been rumors that the mud bands wouldn't be allowed through the vicinity of Scarborough. What is going to happen this carnival for you guys?
So, carnival on the whole is not does not belong to the government. So there is nobody that can say where we can or cannot go, because carnival started as with the Camberley riots, which was why we emancipated in the first place. So there's no way they could say we can't. You know, if we want to go in town, we'll go in town. You know, that kind of way. And that's what will happen. They're not going to stop we. What they're going to tell we? Not going and going in town.
Can't tell them not only.
Crazy.
It's all big work, going in town, little medics, in town, mud,
outside.
everything outside.
Will must get all of despondent. What had to happen, had to happen.
Once God say they're going, they're going. That's it. Could you remind the viewers of the location for the launch, or is there admission fee for the launch?
The location once again is Johnny Q Pop House, Lowlands, on the mall. There is a cover charge of $75. We actually have some listed guests, so you could get listed. Once you are past Tobago Juve Band member, you could send your name once you're interested in coming in the launch, and you will be admitted for free in the launch and listed. Because we love to make sure that our Bagonians feel appreciated, because we really do appreciate you all for the love and support and the energy that you all bring on the road.
So I'm not a Tobago member. I have never been to Tobago. Do I just I come into Tobago that weekend and I hear about Tobago Band Launch? Do I just appear and could I come?
Just appear and come. Just appear and show up. We have space for everybody. So let's reach, and yeah, it's a good vibe.
After the band launch or at the band launch, do I sign up there? Or?
Yes, you can sign up at the band launch. You can actually sign up now. We actually have people registering now and they don't even know what we're coming with. Online, we have online registrations. I'm actually doing our website as well, that I would launch on the 13th. And we have online payment options with different companies that we're working with. So all I would launch on the 13th as well. And yeah.
So give us the social media handles, and also where is the mass camp located?
Okay, so the mass camp hasn't been revealed yet, but I would reveal it now. It's actually going to be by Barcode, upstairs Barcode. So you could come there for any time after the 13th and sign up and get registered and that kind of thing. So that's how I know we will be in town, because we're in town. So make sure and check us out at Barcode from, like we say, the 14th of this month here. You could come and sign up, register, ask questions, try on outfits as well. We have a section to be able to try on stuff. And I must, before I finish, shout out Fluorescent Black. He's the person who's actually designing all our clothing and making. So Daniel Clark, yeah, good vibes. So I know the quality, good and really be there. You know, and yeah, he Tobago boy, man from yard, so we nice.
I love how we are doing Tobago-centric designers for this entire carnival season. Like, a lot of bands are doing Tobago-centric designs, and that is good because we're using our own culture and our own talents, and that is absolutely amazing. So, with that being said, shout out Tobago Juve, Dirty Medics, Fluorescent Black, my Daniel Clark, big up your friend, doing real things. So you are going to be in town, the center from Barcode. You cannot miss Tobago Juve mass camp, because it's upstairs Barcode. Barcode always has something. Just go to Barcode, go upstairs, tell them you come to sign up for Juve, and you know that you will get you, for sure.
For sure.
As it pertains to Juve on the road, for the tickies, I know that there's always complaint that me always have something to wear, and they never have nothing to wear. So we cater for all sizes, or we just...
So you would believe, right? Tobago Juve, I think, have the most tickies of any band. So I'm telling you, I I've been honest with you the most. I sure and I love it. It's good vibes. So I've always cared for tikis. I actually spoke to Daniel last night about a particular design just for the tikis, like something for them alone. You know, that kind of way.
Yeah, because what is that?
Yeah, all invited, you know. So definitely have that for sure. I think part of the process in having a band is actually and doing clothing and stuff is actually realizing how weird sizing can be, because some people might be a small medium, you know, or some people might be a large medium, and that weird for real, you know. So we had challenges in the past with it, and that's why I made sure and spoke to Daniel about doing a particular design for them in specific, you know, so that they do have the issue that we had the last time where they kind of had to wait a little longer for clothing because we had to go and get them made specially, and you know. So this year we wouldn't have that happening. Everybody just sending their measurements, and we have the one and only Daniel Clark dealing with your stuff, so you're safe.
Alright. So to end off this interview, remind viewers of your social media handles where they can see everything Bago times Dirty Medics.
Nice.
Everything Bago Juve, everything fluorescent black designed for Bago Juve. So tell them everything.
Nice. So literally is Bago Juve on Instagram. You could also check out blissofficial_ and Dirty Medics on Instagram. Literally. Fluorescent Black, I believe is Fluorescent Black. I think we are Fluorescent Black actually. It is Fluorescent Black's name. And make sure and check out Bagatelle.camp on Instagram as well, because they actually have a really major event called Mud is Life. And as we all know, Mud is literally life. So it's that vibe.
And I'm not even asking, but I'm telling you guys that Tobago Updates will be at this band launch on the 13th, because I would have already spoken to I say Akido, but I would have already spoken to Johanna about it. So we'll be there covering everything Bago for you guys. So ensure to stay tuned to Tobago Updates, and remember to share the live, share the live, share the live.
No sticks, no stones, or any kind of weapon don't belong here. I don't wanna break no bones. I just want a microphone. Take the mask off your face and look at me face to face. Good morning.
That specializes in all your tasty local dishes for breakfast and for lunch. Breakfast includes coconut bake and sada roti, served with chokers, buljoil, and sausages in tomato sauce. Not forgetting beef and cheese pies, shepherd's pie, macaroni pie, and rice in various styles. Meat served in a variety of flavors, garden salads, and pasta salads. All this accompanied by fruit juices, coconut water, your choice of a great combination to appease your taste buds. So call us today to order, as we are here to accommodate your busy schedules, or if you are having a cooking day off.
I'm Patricia Nicholson Richard.
Everybody only worrying. Never ever worry. Don't mind how things looking hard. I tell them never ever worry. If your nice can't get damaged bad. I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil is always right here for you. I tell them never ever worry. Don't mind if life make you sad. I tell them never ever worry. If your house get flooded out real bad. I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil is always right here for you. I tell them never ever worry. If sickness catch you off guard. I tell them never ever worry. If times fall on you real hard. I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil will always be here for you.
Never worry about a thing. Tatil, where people are people. You know what I mean.
Excel Spa by Haley, where our highly trained staff are ready to deliver the top class services in facial massages, waxing, nail enhancement and body treatment. We are ideally located at Coco Avenue, Switzerland, Tobago. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, TripAdvisor, or you can call us on 730-0149. Excel Spa by Haley. Relax, renew, and rejuvenate.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back, guys, to Youth Wednesdays on the Tobago Updates Morning Show. You're chatting with Dwayne Nurse, and we are in the rainy season. I mean, you all need to take your time. You could clearly see that it is raining in Scarborough. I don't know about outlying regions, but please be safe on the road. Take your time. Get your umbrellas, get your jackets, and those who are in bed, I jealous you. Take your time and enjoy the sleep. And a big shout out to our co-host, Miss Janae Campbell. I hope you're in bed. I hope you sleep for two and enjoy this lovely weather. This morning, we are chatting with a youth in this space, Adriel Wheeler. And many of you might know Adriel Wheeler from around, but this young man is definitely a stellar person, and I repose much confidence in this young man. I know him very well. So good morning to you, Mr. Wheeler.
Good morning, Dwayne. Good morning, Tobago. Good morning to all those that are locked on and listening. It is such an honor to be here with you guys this morning.
Well, I hear how you just talk, countryman. but I don't want to give away. Tell them about yourself.
All right. So I am Adriel Wheeler. I consider myself to be a youth activist. I am the founder of the newly minted Youth Transcending Boundaries. I have a passion for Spanish. In addition to that, I serve as the Youth Assemblyman for Palatovier, Lands for Me, Speyside. I am also the proud founder of the Adriel Wheeler's Charity Foundation. And all in all, I'm just about youth enhancement and youth development.
Right, and I don't want to really pry in your business, Mr. Wheeler. However, it would be remiss of me if I don't give the viewers an opportunity to tell them how young you are. How old are you, Mr. Wheeler?
Well, to be honest with you, Dwayne, I normally don't like to tell people my age. I'm being very honest. However, because it's you, and for the sake of the interview, I am going to share that I'm actually 17 years old. Nevertheless, I am passionate about learning. I take every opportunity to learn something new in order to enhance myself.
Right, and you see, guys, this is indicative of the fact that youth is not, there's no barrier to your age. Age is no reason or any barrier to success, and Mr. Wheeler is clearly demonstrating it to all the youths like yourself and older or younger youth that the sky is not the limit, right? When you get to the sky, there's space, and space is endless. So your potential, therefore, is endless. And Mr. Wheeler, I want to thank you very much for leading the way in that regard. You mentioned that you're passionate about Spanish, and you would have done something quite recently, that is heading along those lines. Just tell us about that.
All right. So earlier this year, upon completing my CXC examinations, one of my former teachers, Miss Stacia Morgan, and I would have decided to host this 5-day conversational Spanish workshop for persons that are 7 to 14. Now, Dwayne, as you will know, we have an influx of Venezuelans here on the island, and by extension, the sister isle, Trinidad. And it is important that young persons learn another language. As a result of that, Ms. Morgan and myself found it fit to have a session whereby we can teach young persons the basics. How do you greet persons in Spanish? How do you say goodbye? How do you apologize in Spanish? So it was necessary. In addition to that, we also wanted them to be cognizant of the fact that there are many opportunities once you can speak another language. Perhaps one can become a foreign language teacher. They can also work with the UN. So the opportunities are endless. And for me personally, Spanish, I believe it's the best subject. That is debatable for many, but I believe it's the best subject that I had in high school, and I really want to take this opportunity to also shout out who was my 4th and 5th form Spanish teacher, Miss Carla McIntosh. She's very supportive. She has been there from the beginning to the end, and I do appreciate them greatly. Even my first Spanish teacher, Senora Macler, Mrs. Macler, if it wasn't for her, I don't think I would have developed that love and appreciation that I even have for Spanish.
Guys, I want to big up Miss Carla McIntosh as well. She's my cuddly neighbor. She hold me as a baby in the village, lovely village of Glamorgan. And you can see that country is doing, country people doing a lot, and Tobagonians doing a lot. And Mr. Wheeler, you spoke a lot of the benefits of learning a foreign language, and to some extent I feel guilty, very much guilty for not learning another language. And I think after now I have no excuse to learn another language. It may not be Spanish,
yes,
you know, but
yes,
it definitely wouldn't be the Creole that we speak. But what really inspired, what again inspired this initiative? Is it that besides what was already mentioned, is it that, you know, you saw that it would help put young Tobagonians at a better competitive advantage, you know, because I'll be frank with you. I went to university in Trinidad, and you know, I get the impression that our Trinidadian counterparts often see us as inferior to them. Do you see that this would help remove such false notions about the Tobagonian, and what other benefits would that inspire you to get into this?
Well, first of all, I wish to rubbish that Tobagonians are inferior to Trinidadians. That is not the fact. You know, I had an interview earlier this year, and my response was, I believe that God blessed all of us with a brain. And once you find your mission and your purpose and you develop that and you harness your skill, you can do great things. And I really want to take this opportunity to speak to other young persons out there. Fight. Keep pushing. You need to find what is your purpose. You need to achieve your goals. You need to aspire to be great. You can be the next Barack Obama. You can be the next Messi. But it's all about determination and hard work. What really inspired the initiative, Dwayne, is that I really want to see that we become a bilingual society. You know, it is important that we be able to speak another language. Spanish preferably, yes, because I mean we're so close to Venezuela. But if it is French, and that is something people like one of my teachers, Miss Abeni Taylor, have been pressing for. We are very determined to build bilingualism here on the island. So that is really and truly what inspired all of that.
Right, right. And you know, I am very pleased to hear, you know, that this is something that you're doing. But what would you say to the person that, like myself, who might have a second learning language barrier, meaning that, oh gosh, another language are too hard. Got to go and learn all the other principles of the basic fundamentals of this new language again. What would you say to that person?
And you know, Dwayne, I think that we put up that block ourselves. I think it's a mental block that we put up for ourselves, because I know a lot of people like that. I had friends we were in the same Spanish class, and they felt as though it was difficult to learn the principles, because in English we just have the present and past tense, but in Spanish there's the preterite tense, the imperfect tense. You have to know when to use which. You have to know the difference between fue and era. That is very important. You have the future tense, and it's very similar to English, and that is what people need to understand. Spanish has adverbs, English has adverbs. So once you are able to make that linkage and you are willing to learn, you will do great. I think that we put up that mental block ourselves, and I think we need to approach, even with math. Many people say, I hate math, I hate calculating, but it's a mental block that we put up, and we need to speak positivity into our lives in order to achieve what exactly it is we want to achieve.
And Adriel, chatting with you, right, and thank you so much for that. A thought just came to mind. Is it that we need to push learning an alternative language, right, from as early as preschool? Speak on that.
And most definitely that is something I agree with, and I think that well, back when I want to say back in my day, but then again I'm not that old, but back when I was in preschool, I think that is something that my teachers attempted to do. So we will start with numbers, we'll start with the uno, dos, tres, cuatro, but I'm not sure what it's like today, but that is definitely something we need to look into. We need to implement foreign language into our early childhood care.
Curriculum, yes.
Yes, early childhood curriculum, because it is paramount. I mean, in many other countries, we have children that are just 9 years old being able to speak Dutch, Spanish, French, and English. And some may argue it's because their parents are diplomats, but in reality, if they had that mental block, they were not going to learn. So it's all about, being able to think, having a wide range of thinking, being able to think outside the box, and being able to wanting more for yourself.
Right. And I had two questions on the Spanish, on your Spanish initiative. Is it going to be virtual? Is it going to be free?
Well, this is something that was done. If I'm not mistaken, it was from the 18th to the 22nd of this month. It was virtual. I must say that the response was very overwhelming. There was a lot of positive feedback. I really want to thank Miss Morgan again. Muchísimas gracias, señorita, for giving me that opportunity to, share the spotlight with her in terms of nurturing other children and, being able to do something that I actually love. I wouldn't say teaching specifically, but I love Spanish. Yes. Anybody who knows that, knows that I love Spanish. So it was truly an honor, it was a pleasure, and I am indeed appreciative of that.
Great things are going to come your way, Mr. Wheeler, and I'm looking on, I'm going to, I want to share this nugget with you, that I am so proud that you are doing the things that I only thought to do and didn't at your age, and now kind of doing. So imagine how much more you will do when you get to my age. And I don't jealous you one bit, and in fact I hope you hold more hands along the way, bringing you up, even those that are your peers as well. So continue doing the good work.
Agradezco, I appreciate.
You tell me what that means after.
I appreciate.
Right. But you also are a founder of a youth organization. Tell us about that.
Okay, so Youth Transcending Boundaries was launched on January the 16th of this year. We are about promoting holistic development. To be honest with you, when we started, it was something that was really and truly piloted to residents of Speyside and youths of Speyside. However, as we began with our initiatives, we realized that there were many persons, even from Trinidad, who were interested in being a part of some of our initiatives. So my executive and I would have decided to amend the Constitution to now tailor for persons, or to now cater for persons outside of Speyside. So we have persons even from Trinidad who are part of Cycle 1 of our literacy programs. And I really must take this opportunity to shout out my executive members, President Miss Radhika Connell, Vice President Nicholas Charles, I have Monique Joseph, Secretary, all of you guys. I'm very appreciative of you guys and everything that you all do. The board chair and deputy chair, that is Miss Janelle Edwards and Mr. Kevin Ben, respectively. I am very appreciative. I say thank you. In addition to that, we have had a resume writing workshop with Miss Caricia Douglas. You know, many young persons are now entering the world of work. And how do you get into the world of work, Dwayne, without not knowing how to write a resume? So it was important to have young persons learn the skill of writing a resume, and not only that, cover letter. And I think she gave certain tips on how you go about getting an interview. You know, many of us, we
scared of interview.
we are afraid of interviews. And even when constructing our resumes, we may use emails such as hotgale92@gmail.com, and you know that is not really appropriate.
Correct. It's
so
not
it
professional.
was exactly. So that was really and truly the aim behind that initiative, to have young persons, you know, be aware of how they need to go about in the world of work. Because yes, there are many young persons who are saying gaining employment is so difficult, but sometimes the win is how exactly we go about that. So it was very integral to have Miss Douglas facilitate that session. And I want to speak a bit about our literacy program. That I really,
go right ahead, my brother.
Yeah, I really want to shout out our tutors, and I mind you, they're doing this for free. So we had Miss Liesel Davidson working with students that are 5 to 6, Mr. Delano Jofield working with 8-7, Mr. Shaki Benjamin working with children 8 to 9, Monique Joseph 10 to 12, and the feedback has been positive, and we are appreciative of the 30-something parents that we had reaching out to us, having their children a part of the program. It's just great. I really love the team, I love the dynamics, and I look forward to doing more for the youth of Tobago.
You shouldn't be interviewing me, you know, but guys, I'm really pleased. I'm proud of Adriel. I know him personally, and you know, I'm really pleased. It's really heartwarming. I really feel to shake your hand.
Yes, I appreciate that and all the support.
You know, you're true inspiration, and you're really what embodies what a youth supposed to be. And you know, I think if when you continue along this road, Mr. Wheeler, that you would help transform Tobago. You know, woo, good stuff. But just tell the viewers what benefit really, besides Speyside, your organization would have brought to the outlying villages like Charlottesville, Delaford, and even Roxborough. Just tell the viewers.
Well, as I said, we have decided to open up all of our initiatives for persons outside of Speyside. So we had persons from the various communities benefiting from the literacy program and resume writing workshop, even persons from Cudler Hall. In addition to that, YTB has participated in the Roxborough Police Youth Club Chief Secretary Cup. We have won most of our games. I am indeed proud of the team, and I take this opportunity to shout out and say kudos to the coach. He has been working very hard with them, and it's truly, I don't know, there is no word in the English dictionary to describe how proud I am of the direction that YTB is taking. And though sometimes there may be mishaps, and that is something we must expect, we transcend those boundaries. And that was the point behind the name. It's not that we will not make mistakes. It's not that we will not come across obstacles. But the point is we must overcome those obstacles. It's all about young people being able to transcend boundaries, you know? So that is really and truly, when I see the whole mission and the vision that I had for YTB, you know, becoming a reality, I am proud, and I give God all the honor and glory.
To Him all glory and praise. And finally, what are some of the upcoming initiatives that would be of benefit, not just for the countryside of Tobago, but all of Tobago and even Trinidad?
Well, at this time, YTB is in the process of planning its calendar of events for September. In addition to that, something that we really want to do, however, the executive needs to discuss more, is the back to school drive. We need to have, there are many persons who are in a state of poverty, and the whole catalyst behind the Adriel Wheeler's Charity Foundation, and I kind of want to merge YTB with that, is having young people, giving back to young people, those who may be considered to be the destitute, giving back to them. So that is something that I want YTB to do. We have the back to school drive. In addition to that, we have more workshops coming up. Cosmetology, cycle 2 of the literacy program is scheduled to commence on September 11th. So there are many things that YTB has coming forward. So stay tuned, go to our social media page and like.
Yeah, tell them about your social
So
media
you can
page
follow
quickly.
us at Youth Transcending Boundaries on both Facebook and Instagram.
All right, and finally, what are you up to this summer? Is anything
What am
special?
I up to this summer? So currently I am an intern to the Chief Secretary and Secretary of Finance. It has been a very fulfilling experience. What else can I say? This summer, I am all about holistic development. So apart from that internship, I've been doing a lot of courses in order to enhance my skills. So yes, I'm here relaxing, waiting for CXC results, and back to school September.
Mr. Wheeler, I want to thank you so much for being here this morning. You nearly brought tears to my eyes, to be honest. I'm very, very much proud of you. Right? My only advice to you is that you remain humble and grounded and let God be your guide.
Thank you
so
so
let me
much.
just shake your hand one more time. Guys, this is it for Youth Wednesday Morning, my interview. Help me to share the live in Spanish. You could go after 3, 2, 1.
Okay. So, muchas gracias a mirar a Tobago Updates. Comparte el enlace, comparte el enlace, comparte el enlace.
Share the live.
I wanna share my love, but it's gotta be with someone who's precious. You're never gonna get my love.
Security
Except
Services
in that
Company is the most advanced security service in Tobago. Ask about our cash and transit service. It's safe, risk-free, reliable, and timely. We provide safe banking delivery for all business types and sizes with highly trained staff, 24/7 monitoring, coordinated emergency response, and a well-maintained fleet of armored vehicles. Contact us at 660-7723 or visit our website at www.mi4securitytt.com to sign up today.
The best place to stay in Tobago is at Thorn's Place, with rates starting as low as 200 TT. Call or WhatsApp 745-7306 or 682-8676. We are located uptown Scarborough, 5 minutes away from the port. Remember, at Thorn's Place, our aim is to make your stay safe and affordable.
Tobago Glass Supplies has been a leading name for over 37 years in the glass and aluminum market in Tobago. We provide an extensive range of high-quality, innovative aluminum and glass products for commercial and residential use. Competitive prices with superior and professional services by committed employees who are guided by rigid quality standards. Tobago Glass Supplies specializes in the manufacture and installation of glass and aluminum products that are essential to today's homeowners and the business environment. We are engaged in marketing, sales, and installation of a variety of products. These ranges from windows and doors to necessities such as mirrors for homes and vehicles, designed and manufactured in-house or imported.
Older Jaron Phillip is the first pediatric patient being treated at the island's hyperbaric chamber for his seizures. Jaron began suffering from seizures when he was 18 months old. The seizures have delayed his development, so much so he needs assistance carrying out simple functions like drinking a cup of water. Over the years, Jaron's dad, Keston Phillip, did a lot of research into hyperbaric oxygen therapy as a possible treatment for his son's seizures. Mr. Phillip is hopeful that the treatment at Roxborough's hyperbaric chamber will have positive results for his son.
At some point in time, you've got to understand how oxygen therapy works. It gets into the hard places, dead areas, whatsoever is causing the seizure, and healing and restoration will take place. And when that happens, whatever is causing the heightened electrical activity will no longer cause him to have those cognitive problems. And so we are hoping to see him run again, ride his bike again, walk again.
Practitioners such as Dr. Tyler Sexton, Director of Caribbean Hyperbaric Medicine. For over 2 decades, Dr. Sexton has specialized in pediatric hyperbaric medicine in the United States.
Not only are you treating the child and obviously, hopefully impacting him incredibly as he continues to medically improve, but you're also helping the parents. You're providing hope. And so what is so incredible about Tobago embarking on this is you have taken a stand to say, we believe in pediatrics, we believe in quality care and expanding evidence-based medicine and continue to look for ways to impact populations. But it is an incredible opportunity to touch the pediatric population as there's a vast array of illnesses that can be positively affected with hyperbaric medicine.
Hyperbaric oxygen therapy is used to treat many ailments such as decompression sickness, also called the bends, diabetic ulcers, and other types of wounds. Spending time inside a hyperbaric chamber increases the concentration of oxygen a patient receives, which leads to faster healing. The medical professionals at the hyperbaric chamber unit were commended for the work they continue to do in providing quality health care to all of their patients.
There's always a friendly one, a welcoming one, and also, you know, Mr. Hines, when you speak with him, he gives you a sense of assurance, you know, and confidence that he is the right person for the job. And so I thank God for Mr. Hines and for all the work that he has been doing in the background, even when I was willing to give up, you know, so I thank God for that.
We have confidence in Mr. Hines and his team and their ability to deliver. The record speaks for itself, so let's go through the process, and we are all here to lend support to the family and to pray and hope for the best result.
Jaron's medical team will continue to monitor his health as the sessions go along. This medical care is an encouraging first step to the possibilities for other children with similar conditions.
That was a production of the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly.
Welcome back to Youth Wednesdays, and in this segment we are going to take you to Great Vet Weekend, where I was there and my outfit was sponsored by Red Rose Fashion, which is located uptown next to the traffic light after FCV. Great Pet Weekend with Squid, and he's going to tell us about his Great Pet experience.
Great Pet experience is always a vibe for me. I am a traditional Great Pet petter, artist, dancer, everything. This would be probably my 10th or 11th year experiencing Great Pet, from a patron, dancing and, you know, wilding out in the crowd, to now an entertainer on stage doing my thing as an artist. Right? I'm proud to say Great Pet is one of the, if not the greatest show on earth.
And tell us, how does it feel to be performing after 2 years in a pandemic?
This experience is, I'm lost for words. That should explain it. I'm lost for words because Great Pet is one of the pinnacle of Caribbean culture. You get the best here, internationally, regionally, locally. So it's a pleasure, it's an honor to be here. Great Pet Weekend with Logic. Earlier, I do not know why I'm smiling, but Logic is doing the most right now. Tell us, how was your performance?
Performance was nice, everything was good, man.
After you smile much, you give me them little answers. Tell me about your performance. I see you running and thing. What is that all about? Vibes and energy. You say keep it nice here. Give me.
That energy, we just run out there with full energy. You know, no matter what we're doing, we supposed to be full 100 in it. So that just way now see the.
What is next for Logic on the mark?
Real big things, but only just had to tap in and pay real close attention, and only we'll see what's going on. I don't want to scare out too much of the secret because it's big things. Big things.
Welcome back, and it indeed was a very cold and shocking morning because I was shocked on set with the thunder. But you know, all in all, we had a good show this morning. How about you doing?
Well, guys, I literally had to hug her up because you know she was so scared of the thunder. I was shocked that she was shocked, but you know you had to be a support to your colleague. You know, being a man and all. You know. But this morning was quite eventful and fulfilling for me. A very fulfilling interview. I mean, I know on the rundown we were supposed to have a conversation with the PSA president. However, due to unforeseen circumstances, he could not make it. But I felt the interview with Mr. Wheeler, so much so that I was almost moved to tears, because you just listen when you've been down certain roads and had certain experiences as a young person like myself, and many others like my peers and so on, you would see real hope for Tobago, especially the youth of Tobago, and I'm sure my colleague here could share the same sentiment.
Of course I do. And on that note, I would like for the youth of Tobago to know that you all are bound for greatness, and that there are many youth organizations out here with you transcending boundaries that can make you all know that you all are worthy. there's my organization, Youth Elevating Youth, that also does that for you. So continue to reach out to these youth clubs and youth groups and make your name known and know that you are worthy on the island of Tobago.
Yeah, and even if you don't find yourself in a youth organization, don't be afraid to make your mark in this space, man. Tobago has a lot to offer, you know. So guys, this is it. This is the end of the Youth Wednesdays on the Tobago Updates Morning Show. We want to thank you for viewing us this morning. And with my colleague, we want to encourage you to continue to
share the life, share the life,
share the life. Have a great day.
Wake up with Candace and Denicia. Let's go, go. It's a brand new morning. Rise up to a brand new dawning. As the passion start to rise, the energy fill the skies. I say thanks for favor to wake up and hear me neighbor. 60,000 people strong, and the vibes is never wrong. We are beauty, we are power, we are people in the sun. We are beaches, we are rivers, we are melanated ones. We special and there is no denying. Tobago is number one. I am you and you are me. Together we stronger. Good morning, Tobago. Good morning, Tobago. Good morning, Tobago. Hey. Tobago updates. Na 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 na. Good morning, Tobago. Na 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 na. Wake up with Candace and Denicia. Let's go, go. It's a brand new morning. Rise up to a brand new dawning. As the passion start to rise, the energy fill the skies. I say thanks for favor to wake up and hear me neighbor. 60,000 people strong, and the vibes is never wrong. We are beauty, we are power, we are people in the sun. We are beaches, we are rivers, we are melanated ones. We special and there is no denying. Tobago is number one. I am you and you are me. Together we stronger.
Welcome to Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates, your source for current affairs in Tobago, Trinidad, and the region. With the perfect conversations to complement your morning routine, I am Candace Jackson, and let's get started with the news in 90 seconds. A family is upset that their 3-month-old baby's body has not yet undergone an autopsy. According to a Newsday report, the family complained about poor communication from the Scarborough General Hospital and the mortuary regarding the autopsy. Meanwhile, police are conducting investigations into the death of the baby. Reports said that on July 26, the mother dropped the baby off at a daycare in Canby, but she was contacted several hours later and told the baby was taken to the hospital. When the mother arrived at the hospital, doctors informed her that the baby was dead. Circumstances around the baby's death remain unclear at this time. On to some other news. The first of 15 yacht moorings were installed in Charlottesville by the Environmental Research Institute of Charlottesville, ERIC. The installation of yacht moorings is part of an ecotourism drive to ensure yachties can dock safely in the bay without damaging the reef. Shell Trinidad and Tobago is funding the project, which is in collaboration with the Charlottesville Police Youth Club. The installation of the moors is expected to be finished by the end of August. When completed, yachties will pay for their use, with 30% of the proceeds benefiting the Charlottesville Police Youth Club. And now for some national news. The government does not want to give police officers more than a 4% salary raise. The Trinidad and Tobago Police Social and Welfare Association held their final round of negotiations with the Chief Personnel Officer on Sunday. They proposed 15%
increase for 2014 to 2016 and 12% increase for 2017 to 2019. However, the CPO informed them that the government was not prepared to go higher than 4% from 2014 to 2019, and that was the final offer. The association is expected to meet with its membership soon to discuss the way forward. And that was your news in 90 seconds. And of course, like I said, we have a lot happening in the space. And another story that's been, sort of been on the minds of Tobagonians lately is that of what's been happening with our Scarborough market. We heard that, vendors have not been able to be in the market for the past 2 weeks. And to tell us a little bit more on what's been happening there and, just to clear up whatever misconceptions or just to set the record straight, we have Miss Melissa Abeko Walker, and she is the food technologist in the Division of Food Production, Natural Resources, the Environment, and Sustainable Development. Good morning and welcome to you, ma'am.
Good morning, Ms. Jackson, and good morning, viewers.
All right, great. So let's get started. So like we heard from the vendors that the market was closed for about 2 weeks. It was originally supposed to be closed for 2 days for a sanitization process, but after those 2 days, they were not allowed in. So can you give us an idea of what's been happening? Like, what is the truth there?
So the marketing department under the Division of Food Security has a responsibility to give or to maintain or have proper facilities for its various stakeholders. So in terms of facilitating that, we want to make sure that the facilities that we provide are maintained in a proper condition, and that includes regularly scheduled sanitizing and cleaning. So what happened on the 25th of July, we had our regularly scheduled
idea of what some of those issues that you guys found?
So some of those issues, so what happens with when things aren't done in a particular timing, so when cleaning isn't done when it's scheduled to be, what happens is that with different pests, we can have harborage areas.
And we've heard the claim that there were cockroaches as well.
So those are some of the pests that we deal with, and not just at the market, but we do have, for example, when we are at home, we do sort of see these issues popping up. So if regular cleaning and sanitizing is not done, then we can have an issue. Now, cleaning and sanitation, where food is concerned, there are two different things. So cleaning is a pre-step to sanitizing, and sanitizing actually supports your cleaning efforts. So what cleaning does and why it's necessary for the market to be cleaned, what cleaning does is that it removes dirt. It removes various dust, it removes food particles which are present in the atmosphere. Yes. After all the activities, you'd have those dirts present. So cleaning actually removes those visible particles that can become lodged, and if not removed, can become an issue, and they can actually be a food source for these different pests if they're not removed in a timely manner. So that is what cleaning does. But sanitizing actually supports our cleaning efforts. So our sanitizing actually removes those things that we cannot see with our naked eye. I'm sure we are all aware of what foodborne illness is. Yes. And foodborne illness is caused by these things that these pathogens that we cannot see with our naked eye. So the sanitizing efforts are designed to remove these pathogens, which we don't want to become a food safety or food health concern, so that is why we are undertaking these efforts to ensure that we don't have a reoccurrence of what exactly is happening now.
Okay, so if I understand correctly, now the vendors, they didn't seem to have a problem with that 2-day sanitization process. But what they had a problem with was that after those 2 days, they were still not allowed back into the market because the sanitization kept going on, or there was some concerns. So what I'm trying to get at as to why it took longer than 2 days and why the vendors are still outside of the market.
All right, so we don't act in isolation. We are actually guided by public health regulations. So when we did observed that we had an issue, we did call in public health for their guidance. And as I said, we don't act in isolation. We are guided by public health. So public health are the ones who are actually guiding the process. So when cleaning and sanitization has been done and it has been done satisfactorily and to their standards, then we'll be able to reopen and allow the vendors back in to be able to continue their vending activities. But this has to be done in a controlled manner because sometimes we bring in produce and we bring in produce with things that are hiding in boxes. So we do have to be very cognizant of our role in sort of helping or sort of contributing to the issues that we have. So this is, as I said, we are guided by public health, and this is why regularly scheduled cleaning and sanitization has to occur, and it does occur on a monthly basis.
Now, they were also concerned that, this information was not spoken to them properly, or so they were not really aware of what was happening. They knew that the market was going to be closed for 2 days of sanitization. That was okay, but there were no real updates and there was no conversation with them after the fact. So can you tell me why was there not that conversation and that information going out to them?
So I do believe that the information did go out because our department would have been updating them on exactly what is happening. It's not, as I said, we don't act in isolation, and it's not that we were preventing them from coming in. Public health is the one who was guiding the process. So as information came in, we did communicate that this exactly was happening, and we are not sure exactly when. We hopefully this would be done in an expedited manner once things have been done, as I said, to public health standards. Once that has been done, then you'll be able to try to get that back into the market, because we know that we are dealing with people's livelihoods, and we do empathize because this is many people's bread and butter. So we do empathize with the fact that they have been out of their regular space for a while. So we are doing everything in our efforts, in our power, to be able to try to get them back into a safe space. So we want to ensure that we don't want to rush the process. It has to be done properly. And as I said, public health does guide that entire process.
Certainly. And then what about the issue of compensation? Because it's almost 2 weeks that these vendors have been out, and they're paying on a monthly basis. If I'm not mistaken, they're paying on a monthly basis for the rentals of, the sheds, the tents, all that material that's in there for them to be able to vend. So what's in place now to compensate these vendors for not being able to use their spots?
So as I said, I know that it is an issue have been out of their regular space. So as soon as we can, we try to get them back into that space, so that in terms of their renting, tents on the outside, which is dipping in, I know, into their pockets, we hope to have this issue rectified so that they would back in their space, so that this does not continue.
So will there be any compensation?
I actually can't speak to whether there would be.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't. There would be compensation, but as I said, we would be working assiduously to ensure that they are back in their space as soon as possible, so that they don't incur those extra costs.
All right, and then what about making sure that, these cleaning process, even though it is necessary, but what are we doing to ensure that this does not disrupt their ability to have a business? Because again, the whole reason why the market is there, is for them to have that space for them to come. And of course, it's also part of our social construct and all that thing. So what is there in place to ensure that whatever cleaning and sanitization processes that are to happen in the future, it does not have to disrupt their business for such a length period of time?
So we know that, so as I said, we have regularly scheduled cleaning activities, which the vendors they do get notice ahead of time, and sufficient notice ahead of time, so that they'll be able to plan for their vending activities. So with that being said, we want to, as I said, it's scheduled. It's scheduled. They know when cleaning would be happening, and it's like when you clean your home.
Is this publicly posted as well?
Yes. So they are aware of when cleaning would occur. So this cleaning, as I said, it's necessary. It happens on a monthly basis, and they know ahead of time. It's, as I said, it's like when you're cleaning your home. You schedule when you'll be cleaning. it's also like when you clean your teeth, you go to the dentist, you brush your teeth, right? And you would have you would floss as well to get rid of the deeper issues that may be festering, because if these things go unchecked, then you can have an issue. And as I said, cleaning is scheduled and it has to be done on a regular basis so that we prevent these issues from occurring in the future, and that we uncover any harborage areas. Because harborage areas, if they are not covered or if they remain undisturbed, it can become a breeding ground for various pests, and we don't want these pests getting into our food supply. They do become an issue after a while if they're not dealt with. So actually, public health is spraying today so that they can deal with this issue. So this is the second time they'll be doing this. So it is very important that this does happen on a regular basis, because if left unchecked, then we can have an issue, and we don't want this issue to reoccur.
All right, so you do not know at this point in time when the market will be open?
I don't know. However, we will be guided by public health. So when public health gives us the go-ahead, and the cleaning and sanitization has been done satisfactorily and to their standards, then we'll be able to reopen and guide the re-entry process so that we don't have as I said, a reoccurrence of what occurred in the past week.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Ms. Abeka Walker, for just giving us an update on what's been happening. And we're certainly looking forward for this process being done in a soon enough manner so that we can get the vendors back in there, and then the public can be able to go back to the market as they enjoy doing.
You're welcome.
All right.
Pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now, viewers, don't go anywhere, because coming up next after the break, we have our Chief Secretary, Mr. Farley Augustine, who's going to talk to us on a few current matters. So you don't want to go anywhere. See you after the break.
Tobago Glass Supplies has been a leading name for over 37 years in the glass and aluminum market in Tobago. We provide an extensive range of high-quality, innovative aluminum and glass products for commercial and residential use. Competitive prices with superior and professional services by committed employees who are guided by rigid quality standards. Tobago Glass Supplies specializes in the manufacture and installation of glass and aluminum products that are essential to today's homeowners and the business environment. We are engaged in marketing, sales, and installation of a variety of products. These ranges from windows and doors to necessities such as mirrors for homes and vehicles, designed and manufactured in-house or imported.
We party till we drop down there with a lot of pretty girls down there, down in Tobago.
Our national borders, our first step to security, but a possible access point for guns, drugs, crime. If it does not look right, do the right thing. Call Crime Stoppers anonymously. 800-8477. Report possible border crime.
I say thanks a favor to wake up and hear me neighbor. 60,000 people strong, and the vibes is never wrong. We are beauty, we are power, we are people in the sun, we are beaches.
Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates. Now we are jumping into a conversation with our Chief Secretary, Mr. Farley Augustine. And now we're going to say a special good morning and welcome to you. Augustine, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me. Good morning, Tobago. Good morning, all of those that are watching from further afield. Quite a rainy day this morning.
Certainly.
Yeah.
And we're just going to get our conversation off with you made some comments on Monday at the Emancipation Day proceedings, and that was in regards to, having so that the royal family pay for what was done during the slavery times and so on. So I just want you to get, just to develop that point a little bit and give us an explanation behind those statements. Why did he make those statements, and why do you feel so strongly about that?
Well, my statements are consistent with the position of CARICOM, meaning that all the countries that are part of CARICOM, the Caribbean community, and that starts with Bahamas in the north, extends westward to Belize, over in Central America, and all the way southward towards Guyana and Suriname. We have a collective agreement as a people that we will strongly advocate for reparations. We have Dr. Hilary Beckers from the University of the West Indies. He's now the Chancellor out at Mona campus. He is leading the CARICOM charge with regards to reparations. The argument for reparations is not a new one. In fact, Rastas have been telling us about reparations for a long time. Rastas have been burning up the king and queen for a very long time.
Yes, they have.
And so CARICOM formally engaging with Europe with regards to reparations might be new, but the intellectual argument for reparations is not new. What we have to have an appreciation for is that right up until the early 2000s, the United Kingdom, for example, paid the families that lost slaves as a result of emancipation. And I want people to appreciate that. When the Emancipation Proclamation came about in 1834, and then we are aware that there were 4 years of apprenticeship, so we were really truly free somewhere about 1838. The decision was taken by Westminster that they will pay these slave owners for their loss of earnings. And they received the payment across generations right up to the early 2000s. Believe it or not, right up to the early 2000s, United Kingdom were paying people who lost slaves from 1834. When we look around the world we live in, we take a global perspective on the matter, and I look at the Jews. The Jewish community, they lost about 6 million people from the Holocaust in Nazi Germany. They demanded reparations and were given reparations. They have the museums all over the world. They will remind us every chance they get that they were oppressed. It is a crime in several countries across Europe to deny that the Holocaust existed, or to even have a position that says that the Holocaust was the correct thing. And yet when it comes to what is perhaps the single largest Holocaust in human history, well, modern human history, no payments were ever made. There was between 13 and 15 million people that were brought across from West Africa to what was then termed the New World, or to the Americas. And on that journey alone across the Middle Passage, close to 2 million people died just on the crossing alone. We're not counting those who died on the plantation, those who were murdered, those who were beaten, those who were left out to hang and dry. And so when we look overall at the number of people that died, that suffered needless amputations, deformities, women raped, and all of those things, we are counting well beyond the 6 million Jews that were affected in the Holocaust. And so, as a right, I join with the rest of CARICOM in demanding reparations from the Crown.
Now, we've had Dr. Ralph Gonzalez and even the Prime Minister of Barbados as well, Ms. Mia Motley. Those are some of the people that have been leading the charge within our region in recent times towards these reparations. Have you been having any conversations with them in terms of lending your support to that call?
No, I have not had conversations with them. But I note as well that, if I'm not mistaken, I'm sure I saw at least one news report some months ago from our quoting our Prime Minister as lending support to the cause. So it means nationally, it's part of our international relations policy to also demand that reparations. And it goes beyond that. And in recent as this year, when that's Kate and Prince William, when they made a visit to the region.
Yes.
You recognize that they were met with protestations.
Especially over in Belize.
In Belize, were protests from the indigenous peoples. In Jamaica, the Rastas were out in full numbers protesting as well. People were demanding apologies. They seem to be skirting away from it. The issue goes beyond that. They have in their museums stolen goods. The Crown still holds on as its inheritance things that were stolen from our peoples in West Africa, across the continent of Africa, from within the Caribbean, from India and Asia. Sometime early this morning, I was looking at someone from South Asia, making the point that India and Bangladesh, that they weren't always, India and Pakistan, they weren't always at war with each other, and that was a deliberate doing of colony rule, to separate and conquer and to create this division that has lasted to this point. And the fact that when India and Pakistan, when they were together as one territory, at that juncture, the United Kingdom would have raped the economy of over $1 trillion worth in goods and resources, and left them poor. The point is, several territories were left poorer because of the experience of slavery or indentureship or colonization on a whole. And when we look at Dr. Eric Williams's thesis, and I will never forget this experience because I was an avid history student when I was at high school in Bishop's High School. In fact, at one point, I considered studying history as my major. I don't know why I didn't do it. Well, I thought people studying history didn't make money and didn't get good careers or exciting careers. So I did not do it. Now I have a different perspective. And I can recall sitting in a classroom with Bishop Berkeley. He was then Canon Berkeley, and this is sixth form history we're talking about. And we are, and I am there doing West Indian history. This is lower six, and we are writing about reasons why slavery ended. I can never forget that experience where I'm in the classroom debating with my colleagues that slavery ended because of a humanitarian cause and Wilberforce, and these people were so good and nice to us, and people found slavery to be so inhumane and all of those things. And when it looked like I was winning the argument, the debate, Bishop Berkeley stopped the class and he said, but he's disappointed in the entire class. We are here making an argument for Wilberforce, and nobody considered reading Capitalism and Slavery and Dr. Williams' correct thesis. And he shut down the class, ended the class prematurely, and made us read it and made us memorize that quotation from Capitalism and Slavery that spoke to it being the commercial capitalism of slavery and all its works that led to the Industrial Revolution in Europe and led to their development, which in turn turned around and destroyed slavery and all its works. In other words, the economic benefits that Europe got from slavery resulted in their development to the point where they no longer needed to enslave people. And so they disbanded slavery because it didn't make economic sense anymore. It made more economic sense for them to pay the slave owners and disband slavery. And move on with their society, move on having raped our economies, having decimated indigenous populations. We're talking about Tainos and Kalinagos and so on. And yet we have not received anything in return. We have been left poor for it. You're talking about bringing groups of people who were not from the same places, the same tribal context, placing them together, disbanding families, refusing to allow families to live as families, training our menfolk that they need to impregnate as many women as they can so that they could get as many baby slaves as they can. You look at the absence of education. You look at the fact that we were given a poor diet. A lot of what we eat now to this day is as a result of a slave diet. In the Caribbean, we are leading the world in hypertension, diabetes. We are leading the world in heart-related diseases. For our very small population size, we are leading the world. And that's because we have come up out of an experience with colonization, believing that the best meals are the meals high in sodium content, high in salt. So people love the pigtails. Some parts of the region, they love the chicken back. They love the parts of the chicken that are not the healthiest parts, because the colonial masters, they kept their lovely chicken breast and the leaner parts of the meat for themselves and gave us the scraps. Yes, we have done well. And I made it a point on Monday to say that we have taken what was meant for bad, and we have done well. Yes, they threw the chicken feet at us, and the pig feet, and the cow feet, and so on, or cow foot as we say, but we speak in English now.
Yes.
The cow feet and so on at us, this cow skin and cow head and pig head and so on at us, and the livers and gizzards and so on at us, and made us eat those things, while they ate the better parts of the meat. And yes, we were able to create the sauce and the puddings and all the different delicacies out of that. We got creative with what we were given. But the truth is, when we look at what is happening in terms of our health, it is disastrous to our health. When we look at what has happened in terms of education, and how far behind we may be in some regards, disastrous. When we look at our economies, the Caribbean region can now be characterized by slow growth and high debt across the region, and that has been persistent for many years. When we also look at some of the lack of technology, the lack of access, and you know what baffles me is that I am looking on at the Tory debates that's happening now as they try to find a new prime minister. I mean, Boris Johnson was just disastrous. But as they seek to find a new prime minister now in the UK, and they hear the argument about those who are illegal, we saw about 2 years ago what happened with the Windrush generation, people who went to the UK to help them out, to fight wars with them, to help rebuild their society, were being sent back home and being treated as outsiders. But Louise Bennett from Jamaica, she was a playwright, a writer, comedian, an exponent in Jamaican Creole. And she made the point that, you know, we need to colonize the United Kingdom, colonize England in reverse, because of I feel no empathies or sympathies towards these developed countries that are now seeing an influx of immigrants. Because the truth is, they flooded our territories when we never asked them to. Right? They were once immigrants here, flooding our territories, devastating our economies, destroying societal structure and constructs and deconstructing it. And so, because of how they left our societies, they are now forced to treat with a problem of extensive migration towards their territories now, because people are just getting difficult times at home. And so that's all part of the bigger argument that CARICOM is making towards this thing called reparations. And I will encourage our teachers, our students, and you don't necessarily have to agree with me today, because I know that there are some people in this space who don't think that we should demand reparations, that we should leave it alone. Some people think we should not talk about the horrors of slavery, we should say nothing about it, we should move on. But I find it strange that we have been asked to move on, yet other groups of people are allowed to remember the horrors, to treat with it. And perhaps it speaks to a larger issue with how we process trauma and hurt as a society. And I'm fast-tracking to 1990, which just happened. And yes, it's not related to slavery or reparations, but it is related to how we treat with trauma.
Right, because we haven't treated with that trauma, and that's within our recent times.
And I was shocked to discover that as a country, we only know the names of 9 of the 24 that were killed.
Yes, we don't know. I mean, there might be more people that were killed, but we don't know.
And I'm saying, but what kind of country is this that we had such a grave incursion? In fact, the first, some would argue, the first Islamic insurrection in the Western Hemisphere happened in our country. Some even argue that it's the first modern take of terrorism in the Western Hemisphere to happen. It happened in our country. And we have nowhere recorded their names. It meant that nobody reached out to their families. Nobody considered what happened to the children of the men and the women that were lost. And I was privileged to be part of the screening, I think it was code 727, in Trinidad. And I spoke with the Commissioner of Police, and I said to him that I will want to have that screen. I'm going to make it an effort to have it brought to our space in Tobago and to bring as many people out as possible to look at it. And when I sat in the room, there weren't dry faces in the room. I am there in Queen's Hall, and I'm saying, Lord, don't let the lights come on at all. They're going to see a big man weeping here. But what got me is when a retired police officer said she went into the speaker's chambers, she took off her tunic, took off her hat, she knelt down on top of it, she prayed and she said, God, please send somebody to take care of my children. She didn't pray for God to bring her out alive. She didn't pray for her to survive. She prayed that God would provide somebody, because she had 6 children, one of which was under a year old. And she was there praying that God will provide somebody to take care of her children. And then there was another one there crying, saying, look, because we were SRPs, nobody took care of us. Nobody considered us. Nobody went and looked for McLeod's family. McLeod, who stood up there and fired back shot after shot and tried to keep them at bay and lost his life. Nobody looked for their families. Nobody knew what happened to their families. Why am I raising it at this point? Because it speaks to a pattern, a psychological pattern of behavior. When we experience trauma, we attempt to forget it, to shut it off, to not talk about it, to not raise it at all. And we did it post-emancipation. We did it post-indentureship. We did it post-1990. We did it for Tobago. We did it post-Hurricane Flora. We just tried to shut out every trauma, because somehow we were taught to believe that shutting out trauma, not talking about it, not treating with it, is the best way to treat it. And that might just
and
be...
maybe this might be the time for Tobago to take the lead in this sort of thing. And in terms of, I know you've spoken to it before, incorporating these things within our education system. And how is that going along?
Well, the vision is pretty advanced in its conversation about fixing the curriculum and making it Tobago-centric and creating avenues for patriotism and so on within the curriculum. Teaching our young people basics, good manners. Manners make it man. And when I was a teacher at Speyside High School, one of the things I discovered there was that if we teach students the basic of manners, good morning, good afternoon, thank you, please, showing appreciation, showing gratitude, patriotism, if we teach them those basics, then all the other things fall into line. Because you don't have the disciplinary issues that you have. Then you have a dedication to learning as well. You have students feeling obligated to do well because they understand that the state is putting out an incredible sum of monies on their development. And so we need to have those discussions. What will happen next is that the division will establish a task force soon, and that task force will lead the way in doing the public consultations on education to treat with ensuring that when we work in the curriculum, we are doing it in a manner that belongs to the benefit of all Tobagonians.
So it would not be ready in time for the start of the school year in September?
No, it won't be ready in time because the bill that is needed in education is significantly more. And let me find the most appropriate way to say this. And I know I don't always say things the most appropriate way. I am guilty of just speaking truth, however it may be. And the truth is that truth itself is naked. Truth is never really polite. But when it comes to education, on this island, Tobago can do a lot better. We have the best teacher-to-student ratio in the country, and might I say, perhaps in the region. We have some of the best physical plants, notwithstanding the challenges with some leaky roofs here and there, and tiles popping up here and there, not having sufficient furniture. The truth is, we are doing much better than most. And our performance can be a lot better. And there are many variables that will have to go into making that possible. There is a teacher variable, which means that we have to keep teaching and retooling our teachers, quite like what Finland does. Everybody talks about the Finnish model, but nobody wants to put the resources into achieving the Finnish model. In the Finnish model, teachers are paid to get postgraduate degrees, so you are paid for your teaching. Teachers are required to do academic papers in order to stay in the profession. They are required to keep learning and keep retooling themselves. The Finnish model is not so heavily based on examinations as ours is. We still have people arguing about whether we should keep the C exam on or not. And it's not the most efficient placement test in the world, for sure. We have elitism within our education system that has to be treated with. We have some schools being under-resourced while some schools are being over-resourced. We have the question of all schools not being equal. We have the question of co-curricular activities and the attention paid to co-curricular activities. And the fact that we see co-curricular activities as just something extra on the side, and we don't see the need yet to integrate it into learning and to have things like music and the arts and vocational education. We are yet to put equal emphasis and attention as far as resources to non-traditional training and academics. We are yet to ensure that we train people and tool the society for more than just being doctors and teachers and lawyers, and for doing other great things. So there's a need for a much larger build out. And of course, special education. I will keep talking about special education, and I'm happy to announce that committee is well on its way in doing its work, so that very soon we will start construction on our special ed school up at Signal Hill. But more than that, we have to ensure that we have teachers' aides and pupil aides within the system in time for September. I'm saying it again, so that those with responsibility in education will hear it. That we have to put out those ads, get those people in, get the necessary therapists into the system, so that they can contribute towards the education of our children, whether it's our speech therapists or physiotherapists and so on. Not just the special needs, but for those who we will have to integrate into the regular school system, who are at a different level on the spectrum and so on. All of these are challenges that we have to grapple with. The point is, post-emancipation, post-colonial, post-independent, post-modern Tobago has a lot of work to be done. We have a lot of work to do. And I am really appealing to all and sundry that let us put our shoulders to the wheel and do the work. It requires some hard decisions. It requires some progressive moves. It requires throwing out some archaic customs that we may have and developing new ones. But it starts with us being proud of who we are, knowing who we are, not having an identity crisis. It starts with us moving past issues with hair and skin and the obsessive desire to be a browning. We have to get past those inconsequential things and get to a very mature stage where we're not having discussions about how we are dressed and our hairstyles and the skin tone and all of those things, and be proud of just who we are. We are cosmopolitan as a nation. We mix up. Some of us black, some of us Indian, some of us Chinese, some mix all over the place. Some carry the surnames and names of their ancestors. Some of us carry slave names still. I'm certain St. Augustine in no way related to me, but I carry an Augustine surname. Anyway, the point is, we have to, as a society, mature and get past some of those issues and find a way to create for ourselves an identity that says, I'm a proud Tobagonian, I'm a proud Trimbagonian. Define what that means, teach our young people, and have them get to the place where they are prepared to lead the nation and the world. People who know themselves and are proud of themselves are leaders in this world.
Okay, and on that point, well, viewers, we're not done yet, but we're just going to take a quick pause and just head to a quick break, and we'll be right back with a lot more from our Chief Secretary, Falia Augustine.
Excel Spa by Haley, where our highly trained staff are ready to deliver the top-class services in facial massages, waxing, nail enhancement and body treatment. We are ideally located at Coco Avenue, Susolines, Tobago. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, TripAdvisor, or you can call us on 730-0149. Excel Spa by Haley. Relax, renew, and rejuvenate.
MI4 Security Services Company is the most advanced security service in Tobago. Ask about our cash and transit service. It's safe, risk-free, reliable, and timely. We provide safe banking delivery for all business types and sizes with highly trained staff, 24/7 monitoring, coordinated emergency response, and a well-maintained fleet of armored vehicles. Contact us at 660-7723 or visit our website at www.mi4securitytt.com to sign up today.
The best place to stay in Tobago is at Thorn's Place with rates starting as low as 200 TT. Call or WhatsApp 745-7306 or 682-8676. We are located uptown Scarborough, 5 minutes away from the port. Remember, at Thorn's Place, our aim is to make your stay safe and affordable.
And you and me, together we stronger. Good morning, Tobago. Good morning, Tobago.
Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates, and we are continuing our conversation with the Honorable Chief Secretary Falia Augustine. And we are at this point in time, we are switching the conversation towards some of our outreach work from the THA, and I'm speaking towards that Grenada trip that is now ongoing. We had a team from Tobago that left yesterday to go to Grenada. Now, what was interesting about this Grenada trip was that we did not see any sort of official info coming out. Now, we saw some social media postings from some of the contingent, but we didn't see any bit of that official communique. So I just want you to just give us an idea what's happening out there in Grenada, who is out there in Grenada, and why.
So let me apologize for what might have happened. I'm not sure what have happened out of the division, because usually folks are leaving, there should be an official communique to the public about it. I know nationally the policy is otherwise, people just leave and come and you know or you don't know. But I have asked that divisions, put out the communique. It's a contingent of 10, being led by the Assistant Secretary in the Division of Tourism, Culture, Transportation, Antiquities and Transportation. From that division, the Assistant Secretary is more or less the only official of the division that's going.
So there are no other officials?
It's a mixture, no. It's a mixture of, we have the chair and deputy chair of the Carnival Committee will be there, the chair of the Festival Commission, who is also present, and there's also a small contingent of artists who are part of the performing artists. So we have Gerald Balfour, Princess Adana, we have some Calypsonians whose names I can't remember.
I think we have Anomaly and Prince.
Right, correct.
Unique.
Prince Unique and so on. Because what's going to happen is that they are actually going to be performing at the official carnival events in Grenada, inclusive of their Soca Monarch, their Calypso Monarch, and so on, as guest artists, and doing promotional work for the Tobago Carnival. It's also part of a larger twinning of both territories, both islands that we will hope, that we are hoping to do. One would appreciate that Tobago has some historical
ties
with Grenada. We were at one point adjoined with Grenada as one administrative territory before we were with Trinidad. Additionally, we have several Tobagonians with relatives that are present in Grenada. I am one of them. I'm only third generation Tobagonian. I think I explained this already.
Yes, you did.
With my grandfather being Grenadian, and my grandmother also being Grenadian. So it's pretty close relationships, and many Tobagonians have similarities, and some descendants from Grenada. So it's part of that larger twinning that we hope to do. While there, the team will also be meeting with organizers and planners and promoters and government officials from Grenada as well. So it will also allow for some knowledge exchange to happen across the space. The hope and we are trying to secure an audience with Port Authority either later this week or early next week, and that is to continue a conversation we started earlier this year about the possibility of chartered sailings, regular sailings between Grenada and Tobago. We spoke about...
We're going to get into that, but before we get into that issue, I just want to go back a little bit towards the trip itself. I mean, is there a cost-benefit analysis done for this trip? You know, I mean, in terms of, you know, what are we hoping to get back in revenue? And I know you said that there's going to be some bit of exchange in terms of Carnival. You know, we have some of our people going there for Grenada Carnival this weekend, and then they'll be coming over in October for our Carnival.
So the cost-benefit analysis is on two fronts, right? I'm not sure what cost value you can attach to the knowledge gain and knowledge sharing, because there is a cost to that and that experience. But on the other end, we are exploring regional tourism. Tobago has almost always looked to only two sources of inputs for tourism. We have looked to Europe, and in particular, in recent times, we have looked specifically to United Kingdom and very little elsewhere. And we have looked to Trinidad for domestic tourism. But we have never really explored regional tourism. And that's something we campaigned on. That we want to explore regional tourism. And that's one of the reasons why we are having these conversations with Port Authority about inter-regional ferry travel and that coming to the Tobago space as opposed to Trinidad. So Trinidad has a CARICOM jetty where goods enter. We are looking at a CARICOM jetty more or less where people enter, and where people could enter and shop and buy, and we will take it to the next extent of duty-free shopping and so on. So it's part of that build-out. Now, we can't just start at the place of just developing the port in Tobago, getting duty-free, and then saying, come to Tobago. What has to happen is that we have to do incremental advertising, promotion, engagements with our regional friends and family before we open up.
So by the time we open up, this in that process?
Well, this is at the very formative stage.
So, okay.
These are the very formative stage. What we don't want to do is repeat the mistakes that were made when we had that aircraft from Brazil, in Gol. Yes. And that was a trip going to Barbados and to Tobago. But we barely got any passengers out of it. What we did not realize is that before that aircraft, that carrier started going to Barbados, Barbados for years was actively engaged in advertising out there in Brazil. So they were talking to the people. So by the time the aircraft comes on stream, the people already knew of the brand that was Barbados. You can't open up and then say, come. You have to permeate the markets you want to penetrate first. Let them know of the brand, know of your product offering. And so that by the time you open up, you will get an inflow. And so beyond the issue of Carnival, we campaigned on a pledge that we will open up Tobago to inter-regional ferry service.
And starting with Grenada.
Starting with Grenada. And so, and let me give you the line. So we're hoping we engage them now with their Carnival. I am going to do some engagements, well, some following engagements, because I did receive an invitation for the inauguration of the Prime Minister and the swearing in of the cabinet members. but it was around our budget time. And so it just wasn't an appropriate time for me to leave and to make that engagement. But I have given a commitment that I, at some point, will make that trip and do that official visit. So we have a small contingent of 10 there who will do some promotional work, have some meeting, and that will be more cultural in nature in terms of the exchange. By the time we get towards the month of October, we want to have sailings from Grenada. In fact, our intention is to do the first sailing as a chartered experience, so that we are also testing the feasibility out of it.
And I want to get into that a little bit,
sure.
Because if anybody knows Grenada at all, or even Caranash area in St. George's, it's not that easy place to dock. They don't have the same facilities that we do, because of course we have our facilities built around that inter-island ferry service, and Grenada does not.
But what they do have is they have better service for docking of yachts.
Yes, yes, they do.
And they have
several marinas.
Correct. And they get yachts that are larger than our inter-island ferry services. So they dock boats in Grenada that are larger than the boats we can possibly dock here.
So things like that, like those technical details, are
those are all being sorted, as in where we will dock, and all of those things are part of the conversation that we are currently having. And so that's why, and when I spoke about it when we had that interview in the office, I was saying to the public that we are having this conversation, that we are exploring these possibilities. And then I got flooded with people saying, look, I want to be on the first sailing. I said, but we haven't announced a first sailing as yet. We haven't announced that we will go this day, this month as yet. We are doing all the exploratory work at the moment.
And you said that you have not met with the Port Authority yet.
No.
So
I met with the Port Authority since the start of the year. The Port Authority shared with me their feasibility study, and their feasibility study showed, and of course COVID happened, and so there is a time lapse between their feasibility study and now, and so the prices and so on will change a bit. But based on their feasibility study and the information I got from Port Authority, they saw a sailing at that time would have resulted in about $700 TT for a sailing. So consider the cost $700 versus the cost of the aircraft, right?
Which is another conversation that we're going to get into.
Which is another conversation, right? Yes. The distance is equivalent to the distance to Port of Spain. So the Port Authority did do a feasibility study before. Granted, there's a time lapse because COVID happened and there was a shutdown.
There were several, if I remember, since Mr. Stephen Cadiz and that
right, so they have been doing it. So the point is, we have started that conversation with the Port Authority. So the conversation I'm going to have with the Port Authority within the next week or so is a follow-on conversation to the ones we have had previously. And the board was very amenable to the idea. In fact, they were the ones that said to me, instead of jumping head first into it, let's do the initial sailing like a charter, which will be like a test run, to see how it works, to see the response of the people, because you will appreciate that at the end of the day we want it to be economically feasible. We want people to come, we want the numbers to be there. And this does not mean, and I want us to have an appreciation for the broader picture, it does not mean that we are pushing for a sailing to happen every single day to Grenada, or even every week. The feasibility might say it could be a once per month engagement, and if once per month we could have the boat jam-packed with Grenadians coming here, that does a great deal for our tourism product, for our accommodation sector, especially within the space, because when they come here, it means that they are going to go shopping. It means that some will want to go on to neighboring Trinidad and do other business there and come back, and Tobago becomes a bustling hub for that kind of activity. And what I'm also hopeful is that outside of the Port Authority, outside of what we are hoping the Port Authority will engage us in doing, I am hopeful that outside of that there will be private enterprise from around the region who will look on and say, maybe I could do this thing too. And maybe I could do one from Barbados. Maybe I could do one from St. Lucia. So the goal is not for the Port Authority or the Inter-Island Ferry Service to run the entire region. The goal is to use the resources we have as a start and use that to then encourage the private sector to invest in this kind of travel across the region. And again, this is something CARICOM has spoken about. CARICOM has had agreements on it. And
it's part of that whole CSM push.
And more than that, it is ridiculous that it costs sometimes less to take a flight to Miami than it costs to take a flight within the region. Nobody on the planet could convince me that that makes sense. It might make CNTS, but it doesn't make sense. And I don't understand why CARICOM leaders continue to sit idly by while the inter-island connectivity is not there. We have to have an appreciation of how that will help all of our economies. Imagine visitors to the region having the luxury of being able to island hop while they're here and not necessarily staying in one space. They can spend their foreign currency across a wider space of people. They'll be more inclined to come if they know that they can get 2, 3, 4 islands for the price of one. It is restrictive. We have a situation neighboring Barbados. Barbados has what? Little Barbados has about 5, 6 golf courses at the moment, all fully operational. We have one and the other one practically closed down. But imagine if we have proper connectivity and we have a direct flight from Barbados to Tobago now. It means that somebody could get to Barbados. We could have tournaments, inter-regional tournaments, the way we have cricket, inter-regional cricket tournaments, and people could fly down. They could be in Barbados at the beginning of the week with golf, and they on a Wednesday they fly across to Tobago. They have the competition continue in Tobago, one competition, 2 islands. We have to look beyond just what we traditionally see as our source markets and the points of reference for attracting tourists to the island, and explore the option of connecting the islands of the Caribbean, connecting the territories of the Caribbean, and getting people here. And at this last point, I was a student at Mona during the period of the Cricket World Cup, and I kid you not, it was my best time of traveling in the region. International commentators and media personalities were writing and saying that for a tournament, the Caribbean came together and made itself almost one country and saw economic benefits to that. As a national of CARICOM, it felt so good that you landed in an airport. When you landed in an airport, you just walk through. You just walk through almost like a diplomat, because you flash your CARICOM passport, and you were treated with dignity. You were treated with integrity. You were treated like you belong, like you were a citizen of this great region. You felt a sense of pride when you landed and you saw that all CARICOM nationals come to this side, and you were just being whisked through, and you look across and you see all the outsiders there waiting in line to get searched, and you felt like you belonged to something bigger than just your 116 square miles. And as soon as cricket done, you know what we did? We just abandoned it and went back to life at no. I don't understand what's happening with the leadership of CARICOM. These are issues that should have been solved a long time ago. We should not be battling those things now.
Okay, now so you're talking about that, having that ease of intra-regional travel in the Caribbean, but we have right now a very major problem, and that is that link between Trinidad and Tobago. I know that the THA is currently paying for the airport in Tobago to be open longer, to stay open longer, but we still have challenges with flights and people getting over to Tobago, to the point where hotels are complaining that they are not getting the level of bookings that they're supposed to be getting, because people are telling them, well, we can't get a flight and we don't want to go on the ferry.
They're experiencing a lot of cancellations. And I could tell you, when we were doing the analysis for the budget in June, we found that at best, occupancy levels were arriving at 50% at best, at 50%. And we see a direct correlation between the occupancy level at maximum being at 50%, with Caribbean Airlines only returning about 50% of the flights between Trinidad and Tobago. So we see that correlation. And in a recent interview, I call out our members of parliament, because the truth is, yes, the THA could give a commitment to taking care of the airport and that being open till 2 a.m. in the morning.
So we are having the airport open till 2 in the morning.
Well, it's not open till 2 in the morning as yet, because we can't open it till 2 a.m. and the flights are not there. It means the workers will just be standing up there for no reason. That will be a waste of money. We already sent out the official notice giving the commitment and saying we are going to pay it. Open the airport, and we inform Caribbean Airlines that we are going to pay it. Run the flights. But the point is, Caribbean Airlines is a function of the cabinet. Caribbean Airlines is not a function of the THA. The THA Act in the 5th schedule lists their air and sea transport, but we don't own Caribbean Airlines. In fact, by statute or by law, we're not even entitled by law to a representative on the Caribbean Airlines board. So they have to be benevolent to give us somebody on the board. The point is, the cabinet manages Caribbean Airlines, and certainly the cabinet must see that part of the country is disconnected.
Do you think that the cabinet is ignoring that problem that's being faced in Tobago?
Of course it is. Of course it is. Because I am certain if there is some massive problem that disconnects South Trinidad from the rest of the island of Trinidad, and PTSC cannot operate, that the cabinet will find a solution and fix it. It cannot be that when it's convenient to you, you jump around with this talk of us being a Twin Island Republic and we're united. But when it comes to keeping us connected and the air and sea bridge working efficiently, you just ignore it.
And do you think...
Let's have an appreciation for the facts. Piarco Airport was reopened to international flights for almost 3 months before we got our first international flights. We were allowed to get our first international flights. And Caribbean Airlines was only April, think about that, only just before Easter, after some noise make, before we got a little increase in the number of flights to 12. April, only April, and I'm saying, so what, are we children of a lesser God? How do we expect the economy of Tobago, which is a service-driven economy, to do well without those flights? And let me add this. Even if we are to go and market Tobago to, let's say, for example, to the Dutch, KLM comes to Port of Spain and not to A&R Robinson, to Piarco and not to A&R Robinson. There are no connectivity. People are getting in on international flights late in the night, but cannot get across to Tobago. What do we expect them to do? Sleep on the airport? What tourism do we expect to be serious about on this island? When you are saying to a tourist, well, when you come into the country, sleep in the airport before you could get a flight. I had to assist for a conference that was happening in Tobago this weekend, when we had the big great fete and everything booked out. To us, there was a conference happening, and people were coming in from the United States, from New York, for that conference. I think 9 individuals were coming in for that conference. It was a church-related conference. You know what I had to do? I had to take staff from my office, send them down to Trinidad, have them stand up in the airport to welcome them, and to try to walk them through the standby procedure to get flights, right? Thankfully, they got the flights and so on, and they got it without a hiccup to get to Tobago and to get back. The point is, how do we expect a service-based industry like tourism to work on this island when we are not connected? I can't always send my staff for every conference that happens in Tobago. We are talking to some players who want to host conferences that will amass 300 plus people next year and so on. How are we getting 300 plus people to the island if there isn't connectivity?
What about the THA's voice and its advocacy? Because then there is also that concern that perhaps
to talk more until a horse. So every single day I will come on Facebook and I will come on the media and I will cuss, I will be crass, I will be rude, I will be impolite, I will talk about it, I will call them out, I will tell them they need to fix the air bridge. What should I do? Go down with a placard and stand up in front of the Red House? Is that what we want to do? Demean the office of the Chief Secretary to just go and protest and only talk and cuss and quarrel and make noise? We have members of parliament for a reason. Why are we taking away the responsibility from them? And at least one of them is a cabinet member. They sit down there in cabinet. They are meant to represent Tobago East and West in the parliament, the central government of which they are members. They're not even opposition members, they are members of the government. They are there, right? And when it's convenient to them, they walk around and talk about we love you so, and we are loving and caring. Loving and caring what? You ain't loving and caring one fat. The point is, we have a situation where Tobago remains disconnected, and we should not have a situation where every time we need to fix that, somebody has to come and beg. Why do we demean our office of the Chief Secretary to mend the cassie? Why do we have to beg for public essential services? We have to appreciate that the inter-island ferry service, the inter-island air service, those are public transportation services. Those are not meant for profit services. It come like PTSD in the sky and PTSD on the sea, because the country is not connected by a bridge. You can't drive across the bridge. You can't get to Tobago with a bus. And for many Tobagonians, we unfortunately have to do services in Trinidad. Let me tell you, we don't go to Trinidad because we want to party or because we want a holiday. We're going on. No. Trinidad is not a luxury for us. We go to Trinidad as business customers to do business. Trinidadians come here for luxury, for resort, to relax. So it's a lovely exchange. It goes both ways, and we are not the only benefactors. And that's the other point that must be made. Tobago is not the only benefactor of an efficient inter-island sea and air bridge. We are not. The business community in Port of Spain benefits from us. School opening, where all them Tobagoans just rush to go and buy the books and buy the cloth. Where they going to buy all the fancy clothes? It's down Trinidad they're going. People going and load up the vehicles in Price Mart and elsewhere. Have anybody stopped to count the value of that? And how much money we spend there?
A larger issue. And I mean, I think there was an article in the Guardian newspaper, commentary from that of Mr. Ferdy Federer yesterday, and he was making the point that, you know, your budget that you gave in that $4 billion budget was that of a utopian budget, in the sense that, you know, for 60,000 people, $4 billion might be too much.
Well, let me stop in the chat, right? He's talking rubbish, right? Number one, over the past, 10 years or thereabout, THA budget has been over $4 billion. Yes. I have not heard those same PNM economists saying that the budgets done by Mr. Jack and my predecessors were utopian, were wishful, but they were more than $4 billion. This is the first time in over 5 years the THA proposed a budget that is less than $4 billion. We proposed one of 3.9 billion. And it's not so much of doing an arithmetic based on population size. The arithmetic has to be done based on developmental needs.
And that seems to be...
Listen, and that's why those economists are talking rubbish. They don't know what they're talking about. They don't live on an island where it is your development budget is less than it costs to renovate a red house, to renovate 1 billion. They spent over 400 million on 1 billion. And I could tell you I was there. The work was well done, beautifully done. It's immaculate. Well preserved. You are dazzled by the ornate ceilings, and I love it. It's a beautiful representation of Trinidad and Tobago as an independent, as a republican territory. But when it comes to Tobago, one must argue that our development spend should be limited to 250 million. Why? Because the population is small. We don't need to have similar services. And one of the reasons why we have to keep going down to Trinidad and having to fight up on standby is because there are many things that we should have in the space that we do not now have in the space because we simply cannot afford to have them in the space. And I will add that if he listened to the budget, in reality, he would have recognized that I made a point in saying that it cannot be that the entire THA's budgetary needs are funded from the subventions of the central government. The THA itself, Tobago itself, has to look at its income and what we earn and what we generate. I also made very heavy weather about attracting alternative financing options. And I said in the budget, you want to invest in Tobago? Come to us. You want to partner with us in public-private partnership modalities? Come to us. And I made it a point, don't go to nobody else to come to us. Not go wrong, so come directly to us and let us have a conversation. Let us explore ways in which you can invest in Tobago. And I could tell you, this executive is already looking at those options. Let me give you one example. We know we need to do that link road from Mount St. George across to Castara. And it's a two-part project. There's Mount St. George to Mason Hall across to Castara in that road. The more difficult part will be the part going to Castara. There's no way we could afford that on a $250 million development expenditure. No way that is possible, because a project like that will cost over $100 million, right? That is road infrastructure. Hermitage Road is falling apart as we speak, falling apart, and there's no way the THA could afford that. And some idiot in Trinidad will sit down and tell me that we're asking for too much money. So if we're asking for too much money, stop taking hydrocarbons out of our waters then. Right. Because we are dignified contributors to the national purse. And we give credence to these economists when we have people mooting incorrect information and saying that the only thing Tobago contributes is 200 million or so to the national purse, while ignoring the fact that there are hydrocarbons deposits that are being withdrawn from Tobago waters, while ignoring the fact that many of the big enterprises on the island pay their taxes outside of the Tobago space and are not remunerated to Tobago and in Tobago as the law prescribes that they should be doing. The point is, Tobago has to develop, and that requires money. And if Tobago have to get on an equal playing field with Trinidad, if we have to truly be side by side, it means that you have to spend more to bring Tobago up to that equal level. This is not about equity. Equity will mean counting everybody in Tobago and giving us per capita. This is about justice. This is about all the years. You know how many years? It's only in 2001 we started getting proper budgetary allocations from the DRC that was triggered by Mr. Charles in late 2000. Only 2001. What happened for all the previous years? This year the TH will be 42 years. So for at least 20 years of the THA, we were underfunded and could not meet our development needs. And just look at Scarborough, Ashanti Town, and yet some people are okay with that. Tobago is getting too much. That's okay with that. And that's the point I keep making. And that's why I have very little patience, very little politeness with those from the Trinidad space who on one end wants to control how our autonomy should swing, and on the other end turn around and want to also control and limit the resources that we have access to.
So where is our autonomy? Because, I mean, that kind of thinking continues no matter how much we've had these conversations.
Because that comes from a miseducation of the Trinidadian. That's where that comes from. Mm-hmm. When we have social studies textbooks that mischaracterizes Tobago's quality and things Tobagonian and Tobago's economy and so on, then you have people being educated wrongly about Tobago. And that's one of the reasons why we have part of the autonomy conversation. It has to move beyond these debates that we have in Tobago. It has to move beyond the public consultations we have in Tobago. And we have to purposefully go there and educate people like that economist that don't know what you're talking about.
Is that happening right now in Trinidad? Because, I mean, that's one of the roles of Mr. Watson Duke as Deputy Chief Secretary and partially based in Trinidad. Is that happening right now?
That has started already, and we are looking to engage Tobagonians living in Trinidad who are knowledge bearers, who have the information, who could give the inputs, who could help us educate the Trinidad public. And let me make this point. I don't want the Trinidadians like that economist to see the inputs in Tobago as being beneficial only to Tobago's development and Tobago's economy. The national development really requires that Tobago be so developed. And let me give you an example. For how long it's practically years now, we're having a shortage of US dollars. You can't travel in peace. The bank limiting how much money you can get. If you have a US account, they're telling you how much money you could take out of your US account. Right? The black market for US currency going wild. People selling it at all kind of thing. People going around now and fraudulently claiming to be Farley, having 20,000 US and all kind of thing to sell to people, trying to defraud people. That's the reality. But you know, if Tobago had a well-oiled tourism industry, if Tobago's an island was open to international travel the way it should be, if Tobago had the kind of inputs that we once had when we were getting 80,000 plus people coming through our doors, you know Tobago could solve the country's shortfall in foreign currency. We could pick up where oil and gas has left off. We could help with the national efforts towards diversifying the country's economy. But no, every time it comes to putting resources in Tobago, the only thing that is seen is that they're giving Tobago some money. Don't give Tobago that money. But it's not seen as inputs for the development of the country as a whole. And the point is, we have been so under-resourced for so long. In order for us to be brought up to speed, much more have to be spent here to do that. And those are the same ones who just turn around and bad talk Tobago when they visit here. The price is high. The road's bad. You have to wait long in the hospital. You can't get a little medicine from the public pharmacy. This falling apart. That's happening. They are the ones who are the first to bad talk the island. But with 250 million for development spending, there is absolutely no way you could get Tobago to that place of being on an even pathway with Trinidad. Scarborough can't be equal to Port of Spain unless more is put into Scarborough to bring it up to speed. And that's why we have been seeking alternative funding, because we know we're not going to get all of what is required to spending Tobago from the national purse. And that's why we're exploring modalities such as having somebody come and do the project for us, and we pay for it over a long period of time. But of course, that will mean that we will end up paying more. But we need the roads, we need the schools, we need the special needs school, we need Roxbursdale to be fully operational. We need so many other inputs to get the island running efficiently. We need to get our hotels back up and running. We need the room quality to improve. All of that we need. That requires some spend. And so in the absence of getting it out of the national purse, we recognize, and I made mention of that in the budget, that we have to generate some of that income ourselves, and we have to look to alternative forms of funding. Look at housing, for example. Housing. My predecessor spent, 21 years there on the throne, and only built, 400 houses in 21 years? 21 years. Only built 400 houses in 21 years. Trinidad was doing, 3,000 on average a year at one point. 400 in 21 years. And an economist will tell me we are asking for too much money.
All right, certainly. And I mean, of course, we're looking forward to September to see what happens in the budget and if the government does follow through with their commitment towards Tobago and gives us, at least something close to what...
Well, the thing is, yes, the DRC recommendation is that we should get between 4.03% and 6.9% of the budget. So what I did is I looked and estimated what the budget would look like. And of course, at that time, it was a little too early to foresee that oil prices would have go up so astronomically, oil and gas prices. So now the country is receiving surplus again. But I estimated that we'll have a national budget around $57 billion. And at 6.9% of that, it takes us to the $3.9 billion that we asked for. And what is interesting is that the same people who were saying some months ago, we love you, just sign and take this stupid bill we give you as autonomy bill. Take this, take it as it is. Forget defining Tobago. Forget wanting control over your waters. Forget them things. Just take the bill and we're going to give 6.8% of the budget. They were saying to us they will give us 6.8% of the budget if we blindly close the eye and just sign away our heritage. So if you want to give us 6.8 of the budget then, well, guess what? The law now says you could give us 6.9.
So why not 6.9?
What's stopping you? Since they love us so much, since you're campaigning so much, what's stopping you? Nothing's stopping you. Give it to us now. There's nothing stopping you. Give it to us now.
All right. And on that note, well, we have to wrap up our conversation. And again, it was a thank you, Chief Secretary Fali Augustine, for just being here with us. Every time we're here, we have just a very wonderful and very explosive conversation.
Yes, I'll try to be less explosive.
Certainly. But I mean, viewers, I want to thank you for sticking around with us. I know you all have been with us for the whole morning. And certainly, I mean, we are going to continue having these conversations going forward. We are looking forward to that budget. We're looking forward to what's coming out of that Grenada trip as well. And to seeing that Grenada connection formed and seeing how that perhaps opened up the doors for that intra-regional travel between the rest of the Caribbean and not just between Grenada and Tobago.
Yes.
So I want to thank you so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you very much.
All right, viewers, that's it for the program. And I just want you to remember to stay safe and have a wonderful and productive day. And yes, I know it's raining out there. It's going to be raining all day today. So make sure you walk with your umbrellas. Make sure you are safe. Most importantly, make sure you are very, very safe on the roads. Watch out for each other on the roads. And try not to, be speeding and that sort of thing. We don't want accidents. We don't want any harm to happen to you all. So we'll see you again tomorrow. And that's it from me, Candace Jackson, for Good Morning Tobago.
Good morning Tobago. Strong